Welcome to Taiwan Report News Brief, news and analysis from here in Taiwan. I'm Donovan Smith. Up today on the program, the government is throwing around subsidies like rice at a wedding. The GDP forecast has been cut, but Taiwan towers in R&D. Plans for Kinmen Airlines have been announced. National Taiwan Normal University to no longer sing the praises of reuniting with the motherland. What's up with the Transitional Justice Commission? We'll discuss. Taiwan wants more American missiles. The criminal adultery law has been struck down. Taiwan has reacted with horror to the new national security law passed in Beijing to control Hong Kong. And finally, China held a 15th anniversary of the Anti-Secession Law shindig because they're such a fun bunch of guys. All right, coronavirus updates. One new imported case of the coronavirus was reported in Taiwan on Friday and was quarantined immediately upon return. Anyone in Taiwan can obtain a self-pay test for the COVID-19 coronavirus with effect from Friday, as the country now has adequate testing capacity, the Central Epidemic Command Center said. They're not cheap, though. The cost ranges from $4,000 to $13,155 per test. The cabinet on Thursday approved a $6.6 billion incentive plan to assist and reward new graduates entering the job market in Taiwan, which will go into effect in June. The plan, proposed by the Ministry of Labor, identifies three criteria: employment, skill set training, and hiring, the latter targeting employers. In terms of employment, a cash reward of 20,000 NT will be given to each first-time job seeker if he or she is able to find a job before the end of the year and hold on to it for at least 3 months. Those that are able to keep it for 6 months will receive an additional 10,000 NT, noting that the maximum is 30,000 NT per individual. Meanwhile, more details on the stimulus coupons are coming out. Stimulus coupons valued at 3,000 NT are to be handed out, but would require proof of purchases totaling 1,000 NT. 1.2 million disadvantaged families would be eligible to receive the coupons without providing receipts. It is, however, limited to Republic of China citizens. Apparently, they don't want foreigners to go out and get a little too stimulating in the economy. Taiwan's government on Thursday downgraded its forecast for GDP growth in 2020 due to the economic impact of the pandemic, according to the Directorate General of Budget, Accounting, and Statistics. The DGBAS said it expects Taiwan's GDP to grow 1.67% in 2020, a downgrade from its earlier forecast of 2.37% made in February, but much higher than the global average of minus 5.5% forecast for the world by IHS Markit. Taiwan's gross domestic expenditure on research and development is ranked third highest in the world as it reached 3.36% of total gross domestic product. That surpassed Japan's 3.26% and the US's 2.83% and China's 2.19%. Taiwan's gross domestic expenditure on R&D closely followed Israel's and South Korea's, which remain the top two spenders on R&D at 4.9% and 4.53% respectively in 2018. Corporate spending has become the main driving force behind Taiwan's gross domestic expenditure on R&D, making up 80.3% of total expenditure, on a level with that of South Korea, ministry data showed. Japan, China, and the U.S. posted slightly lower figures at 79.4%, 77.4%, and 72.6%, respectively. Investors said Friday they're hoping to raise 5 billion NT to start an airline based in Kinmen County and hope to set it up in October. Kinmen residents find it inconvenient to fly overseas, having to transfer first in Taipei or another city in Taiwan. One of the reasons given for wanting to found Kinmen Airlines is interesting. Quote, given that a large number of families from Kinmen live in Southeast Asian countries, it is critical that Kinmen has its own airline to serve its people through a more comprehensive air travel network. This historical tie goes back centuries. Kinmen has many mansions built over the years with money brought back from Southeast Asia. National Taiwan Normal University on Thursday said it is amending the lyrics of the school anthem ahead of its centennial celebrations in 2022, adding that any changes would be non-political and a result of a consensus among students, the faculty, and alumni. Among the changes include removing phrases like, "to be joyous when reunited with the motherland." Symbolically, this may be important, but in practice, one university alumnus surnamed Feng said that they have not even heard, much less sung, the school anthem. What's up with the Transitional Justice Commission? The Legislative Yuan voted along party lines last Tuesday to approve the nomination of 8 commissioners to the Transitional Justice Commission, an independent governing agency charged with investigating Taiwan's authoritarian past. The TJC was formed on May 31st, 2018, and given 2 years to draft a report on steps to promote transitional justice in Taiwan before being disbanded. The government announced in April that it would grant the commission an additional year to complete its work, but was legally required to renominate the commission's leadership. The acting chair said the commission would use the coming year to pursue financial reparations for the victims of state violence and to expand knowledge of transitional justice within Taiwanese society. Wait, what? That's it? Those things are certainly important, to be sure, but they had said they were going to be doing a whole lot more than that. They've long since passed their own deadline to decide what to do with the Chiang Kai-shek Memorial. And what about other symbols of the martial law, one-party state era they said that they were going to address? Now, 2 possibilities come to mind here. One is that the DPP, or President Tsai, has simply decided that drawn-out political battles over symbols simply isn't worth expending political capital on. There are bigger battles to fight. The other is that they're kicking the can down the road and will get to these issues nearer the end of the president's second term, which will be her last. The Ministry of National Defense has confirmed media reports that it plans to purchase coastal defense cruise missile systems from the U.S., saying that they could be delivered by 2023 should Washington agree to sell. The CDCMs are a truck-mounted system of Harpoon anti-ship missiles made by Boeing for mobile coastal defense. Provisions in Taiwan's laws that treat adultery as a criminal offense have been ruled unconstitutional and declared invalid effective immediately by the Constitutional Court. The Constitutional Court determined that the laws that punish adultery infringe on the privacy of individuals and the right of people to make their own decisions. The court believed that adultery was not detrimental to social order or public welfare. Now, Taiwan has been one of the very few non-Islamic countries that still had adultery as a criminal jailable offense. This move may not be popular, however, as opinion polling has shown significant majorities in favor of the law. Adultery is still punishable under civil law, which includes large fines. It will also continue to have an impact on divorce cases. For a deeper look at the issues involved, I've put up a link to a Laurenza post on report.tw. Taiwan has reacted with horror to the new national security law passed in Beijing to control Hong Kong. In a striking and rare move, all political caucuses in the legislature issued a joint statement, and that includes, of course, the KMT, DPP, TPP, and NPP. Quote, "We hereby express our deep regret and strong condemnation concerning mainland China's attempts to enforce its version of a national security law in Hong Kong by circumventing the territory's legislative council, as Beijing would be reneging on its promise of a high degree of autonomy for 50 years in Hong Kong. Based on the universal values of freedom, democracy, and human rights, The Legislative Yuan staunchly supports the Hong Kong people's pursuit of these values, the lawmaker said. The legislative caucuses unanimously support the Hong Kong people's pursuit of a genuine vote for chief executive and all legislative council members to restore the territory's stability and prosperity and rebuild its communication channels, according to their statement. It also called on Taiwan's administration to offer assistance to Hong Kongers whose security and freedoms are at risk due to political factors. Now, this move by all the political parties is excellent news. Showing unity in the face of the Chinese Communist bullying tactics is important for both the people of Hong Kong as well as the defense of Taiwan's sovereignty. President Trump has also joined in, announcing they will be stripping Hong Kong of its special status under U.S. law. This unity, of course, however, was partially broken by Premier Su Tseng, commenting on China's National People's Congress approving national security legislation for Hong Kong on Thursday. Su yesterday said the move highlighted Beijing's failure to adhere to its promise to maintain the one country, two systems framework in the territory until 2047. The action, Su added, showed how that model, promoted by the KMT in tandem with China, was a lie. The KMT issued a statement condemning Su's remarks, asking him on what grounds he had made such an accusation and demanding an apology. While there are many things that one can take issue with the KMT on regarding policies toward China, in this case, the KMT deserves an apology. They have been consistently and vocally against one country, two systems for quite some time now. Johnny Chang said that Su was talking nonsense, saying that his remarks had spoiled a joint statement in support of Hong Kongers from legislative caucuses across party lines. Well, in this case, he's right. President Tsai, as always, didn't put her foot in her mouth. As far as I can tell, she's so disciplined that she's never tasted toe cheese. On Twitter, the president had some important things to say. Quote, Taiwan's commitment to caring for the people of Hong Kong will not change, no matter what adjustments we make to our system. She added, today I asked the Executive Yuan to draw up a humanitarian assistance action plan for Hong Kong citizens that lays out clear, complete plans for their residence, placement, employment, and life in Taiwan as soon as possible. Somewhat worryingly, however, Premier Su Tseng promised the Taiwan government would provide all necessary assistance to Hong Kong refugees based on existing legislation, and said there was no need to establish an asylum system. Under current laws, Hong Kong investors, i.e. people with lots of money, and students get preferential treatment and an easier path to citizenship. That potentially leaves some large gaps, however. Su added that both Taiwan's Mainland Affairs Council and the Cabinet will follow the laws and regulations regarding Hong Kong and Macau affairs to help those threatened by the CCP's political prosecution. This is where the crunch is. Help those threatened by the CCP's political prosecution. Now, from what I've read, it does appear they can use the existing law, but whether it genuinely does help Hong Kongers fleeing persecution will depend on how the law is applied by local authorities and what guidelines they follow. In short, how they choose to follow the president's call for a humanitarian assistance action plan that lays out clear, complete plans for their residence, placement, employment, and life in Taiwan. We'll see. Of course, the PRC had nothing good to say about it. China's Taiwan Affairs Office said bringing black violent forces into Taiwan will bring disaster to Taiwan's people. Speaking of charming behavior by the People's Republic, at a forum marking 15 years of the Anti-Secession Act on Friday, Chinese Politburo member Li Zhanshu, whose given name, by the way, means written war challenge, according to my dictionary, said China remains committed to one country, two systems and peaceful reunification, but said the act provided grounds for taking necessary measures if Taiwan persisted in pushing for independence. In a press release, Taiwan's Mainland Affairs Council countered that the law was merely an attempt to impose quote, unilateral legal measures to decide the future of cross-strait relations and give China carte blanche for the use of force against Taiwan. Now, really what the law is passed for by the Chinese side is that basically if Taiwan makes any moves they really, really don't like, then they will say, oh, by law, we have to do something about it. Oh, poor China. So that's what they're up to, and that's what the ministry, the Mainland Affairs Council is basically referring to. Also at the fun-sounding Anti-Secession Anniversary Party, Li Zuocheng, chief of the Joint Staff Department and member of the Central Military Commission, said, if the possibility for peaceful reunification is lost, the People's Armed Forces will, with the whole nation, including the people of Taiwan, take all necessary steps to resolutely smash any separatist plots or actions. We do not promise to abandon the use of force and reserve the option to take all necessary measures to stabilize and control the situation in the Taiwan Strait, he added. Sounds like a real charming guy, doesn't he? All right, I'm taking tomorrow off, but I'll be back on Current Affairs Taiwan with the always awesome Michael Turton the day after. So be sure to tune in for that. Hit subscribe, like, and all those good things.
This has been brought to you by the Taiwan Report. For more content like this, become our patron at report.tw.
哎呦，就是那个台湾狗啦，最喜欢我的台湾狗了。